Okay, I think we can start. I know that somebody will jump in into the call, and in any case, everybody knows that this webinar will be recorded and saved and sent to everyone who wanted to join it. So let's get started for the ones who attended on time. And I know that it's almost, I mean, it's high season coming, so everybody is busy, and we all have to work hard with our customers all over the countries in Europe and around the world. So let's start with this second webinar, and welcome to the ones that are enjoying this webinar for the first time. For those who are here for the first time, we'll give you a little bit of introduction about what we had in mind with our project at Winedering with this webinars presentation. The goal of this webinar and all the webinars that we have been doing so far and that we will do in the next few weeks and months will be to keep it as short as possible, like 30-35 minutes, with the idea of giving you some glimpses and some useful tools for you to, offer the best solutions for your customers when it comes to wine destinations. And if you remember, for those who already attended the first webinar we started a few weeks ago with the Chianti Classico, and now we are staying in Montalcino today. So the goal of the webinar today will be to introduce you a little bit about this outstanding wine destination. And we will also have a little surprise. You can see here Carlotta, and I will introduce you in a second. We're very glad to have you here. And as you know, we'll talk about the Montalcino wine destination, not necessarily from a wine point of view, but from a technical travel point of view, about logistics, about how to get, the best and most interesting experiences for your customers. And of course, at the end of the presentation, we will have the Q&A, and finally, again, I will send you the presentation that we have been doing so far. So today, it's not only me speaking, and I'm very glad to host Carlotta Salvini, and thank you for being here today, Marketing and Communication Manager of the Consorzio del Vino di Brunello di Montalcino. We would love to, hear a little bit from you in a moment regarding the introduction of the Consorzio di Brunello di Montalcino, to give everybody an overview about what you do and the destination. But before jumping into that, just let me, recap to everybody a few numbers that are already increasing actually since the last webinar, because we almost have more than 3,200 wine experiences available on winedering.com. And for every tour operator and travel agent that is registered on the platform as an affiliate, you will have the opportunity to find all these exclusive wine experiences and book them online with the new affiliation program and commission system that we created a few months ago. I remind you that the B2B program of Winedering is characterized by this outstanding catalog of more than 3,200 wine experiences that we have been selecting over the last few years. And of course, the idea is to make sure that you can have the guarantee of saving your time without wasting your precious moments of work by sending hundreds of emails waiting for wineries to reply to you. At the same time, we wanted to guarantee you the best commission system possible. So we created this affiliation system to make sure that we could guarantee you also an economic advantage and not only a product advantage from that side. And most important, of course, you can give and offer your clients something that is not necessarily on the mass tourism, online travel agencies, or on the classic routes and the classic itineraries. So our verticality from the wine travel point of view is exactly what makes Winedering outstanding today, more and more, and we are so happy that the B2B platform has been growing over the last few months. I remind you that our webinars are aimed at giving you useful tools as the ones that we did into the Chianti Classico the first time, as this one in Montalcino. Everything that I'm going to mention to you is also already online on our blog, which we just published a few minutes ago before the webinar started, and it will be available for you the whole time to check up all the information. And today we are doing our second appointment, and as you know, next one will be at the end of the month in the Langhe region, but we will talk about that later on. So let's start from Montalcino, and as I mentioned you at the beginning, I'm very glad to be not the only one here talking to you, and I'm really happy to welcome Carlotta. So,
Hello.
Carlotta, hello, hello. Are you in Montalcino right now?
Yes, I am. I am
Cool.
at the office here in Montalcino. Yeah. So the,
Lucky
the, the
you.
weather looks pretty today. So we are happy
Cool,
with that.
cool.
Yeah,
Lucky
yeah.
you. I wish we all were there in Tuscany right now. But thank you for your time. And as agreed
Thanks to you.
during our conversation before, I just wanted to give you the word for this few minutes to introduce yourself a little bit about the consortium. The stage is on you.
Sure.
Stage is yours.
Thank you, Stefano. Just a few words about an introduction of the consortium and the activities related. Um, so the Brunello di Montalcino Consortium is an interprofessional organization with the aim to promote the denomination Brunello di Montalcino, which is the main one, but also Rosso di Montalcino, which is the minor appellation, which is getting actually popularity in the last years, and protect, of course, the appellation and regulate and control the activities of the members associated to the consortium. And not only, because as you may know, Stefano, to produce a particular wine which is regulated by a DOCG requirements, so the producers within the appellation, they must follow those requirements to call that wine Brunello di Montalcino. So yes, we do promotion, we do control and protection of the brand. Promotion through events. I'm in charge of the marketing and communication here at the consortium. So I'm in charge of all the activities related to the relationships with medias and press and organization of events that may be here in Italy, like the one of the main one is the presentation of the new vintages, which is going to be in every year in November. Benvenuto Brunello in Montalcino, such a really nice event also to attend. And in June, we present the Rosso di Montalcino. It's a red Montalcino is the event dedicated to the Rosso. So, and of course, events all around the world. As you may know, Brunello di Montalcino is a brand which is quite popular because it is an historical wine brand. The wine is dated back its roots um, to the 1730 roughly. So the one of the first label is dated back to the 1830 of Brunello di Montalcino, and the consortium has been founded, of course, to protect and promote the brand in the 1967. And of course, the main markets, we are very well positioned in the export market with the United States, Canada, UK. They are very important markets for Brunello di Montalcino. And of course, we love to have international people here in town, especially during the seasons, the summertime and springtime. Montalcino is a quite popular destination for travels and experiences. Our members, the 210 wineries, they do have wineries and wine shops and tasting rooms to welcome people from all over the world and to offer such a beautiful, nice experiences. I strongly encourage you to visit, and of course, I hope you'll enjoy Montalcino, you and your customers, as a travel experience and destination.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you for the presentation, for the introduction. 210 wineries. That's amazing. And just one question before leaving you. I mean, of course, you can stay
Sure.
with us listening to the presentation or leave it. It's more than welcome. Just one question, because I know that the Benvenuto Brunello di November event is one of the most important one. Do you already know it's like it's in the beginning or in the mediums of the season of the month?
Yes, of
Because
course, you
so that travel
can.
advisors can know that.
Absolutely. You can already visit our website. The dates
Okay,
are already published. It's going to
cool.
be from 14th of November to the 18th, especially the days which are open to the public and to the final consumers are going to be 17th and 18th of November.
Perfect.
And it's going to be a different format than the last 3, 4 years. It's going to be a walk around tastings with the producers
Beautiful.
attendees. So you can grab a glass and taste the usually 130 wineries attend.
Okay,
So
that's a very great
there
value
is
proposition to sell.
there's plenty of Brunello to taste.
Cool, cool, cool. Thank you. That's a very good note also, and I will also share this information to everybody at the end of the presentation, also via email, just to everybody
Thanks to
to know it.
you.
So, thank you so
Great.
much for your
You're
presentation and for
welcome.
your time, and
Thanks
we'll
a
keep in
lot.
touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao, Carlotta. Bye.
Ciao.
So, as I promised you, the idea is to, of course, we will have to organize a farm trip next year to make sure that you can come and with us to visit this Benvenuto Brunello in November. So we'll do our best from that sense. Okay, let's start from, as usual, as we did on the first presentation, from some logistics about Montalcino. If you don't know Montalcino area, we presented this little map in which you can see perfectly that Montalcino is in the heart of Tuscany. And if you remember with Chianti Classico, we said that Chianti Classico was in between Florence and Siena. In this case, we are a little bit southern more of Siena, and Montalcino is in the heart of what the it's defined and known as the um, Valdorcia wine region. So you probably know Valdorcia from these beautiful cypresses and outstanding landscapes. So when you come to Montalcino and when you organize a Montalcino tasting experience for your customer, you will always need to include probably and possibly a stop by into the amazing Valdorcia and Pienza, and we will talk about that in a moment, wine destination. Montalcino is a town, so it's not only a specific geographic wine destination, it's a little village on top of this beautiful hill in the heart of Tuscany, um, with like most of the features of the characteristics of the landscapes being characterized by vineyards and olive groves, of course. As you can see from the map already, you have not that much distance from the main connections in Tuscany and around the country. So, for example, we still have some flight connections that you may have, especially for those who are arriving on a pre or post tour in Tuscany, or if you're staying for a few days before going, to the north or towards the south, and you may want to use airports to arrive into this area. You want to definitely use Florence as an international airport. There is also as as an airport which is not that far away, 125 miles, or of course there is Rome, and from Rome it's around 140 miles away. So it's beautiful, but still a little bit long, of course, drive within this destination, within the Valdorcia, and that's probably the most outstanding uh, characteristic from that point of view. We have very short distances. So you can easily move from Siena to Montalcino on a day tour of like 20 miles. You can include in your tours, and we will see that later on, Pienza, Montepulciano, and Montalcino. So in one day, you will give your customers an outstanding experience visiting completely different landscapes and, of course, different wines, different contexts and atmospheres, but at the same time, giving them the opportunity either to stay into that area in a villa or in an apartment or in a farmhouse, or staying in Florence and Siena and do a day trip and a day tour. So in both cases, distances are not a problem. Um, Obviously, as we will see in a moment, the best way is to probably hire a car or a driver, and definitely, as the same issue that we mentioned during the Chianti Classico presentation, um, we we may have a little bit more of public transportation service than Chianti Classico, but still, definitely not, the best way to move around. There are some public buses from Siena to Montalcino, but for example, it's much more difficult to reach Montalcino via train from Siena. So um, this is just to give you an overview of the area. And as I mentioned, the best way to move around is by renting a car, using a van or a private car, the famous Italian called NCC. Which stands for noleggio con conducente, which in English means rental car with the driver. So that's the private car actually. And there's still the opportunity here, as in Chianti, to use e-bikes or other specific or normal bikes to move around these beautiful hills. As Carlotta was mentioning before, it's a very welcoming wine destination. Brunello di Montalcino is probably, I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily the most famous Italian wine around the world, but definitely among on the top three list category. Everybody knows Brunello di Montalcino. When it comes to wine, when you go to a restaurant in a country and you look for Italian wines, you always see it as those beautiful Brunello di Montalcino bottle with beautiful historic vintages, these beautiful red wines, and these characteristic labels. Uh, this means that Montalcino is not that easy to reach, but at the same time is absolutely uh, an outstanding famous wine destination, especially for foreigner customers. Again, comparing with Chianti Classico, where we mentioned that there are also domestic travelers around the whole year, Montalcino is much more open to international travelers. So it will be very common to meet travelers from all over the world, either by car or by other tools, or people that are staying there for a few days, because there are many beautiful and outstanding villas and farmhouses in the middle of the vineyards to stay around. Of course, this means that there is a very high season time, peak season, which is always the classic one, including harvest in this case. But there is one important and interesting aspect that I would recommend to you to suggest, especially after what Carlotta said, which is remember those two events. One is in June, is happening right now. Um, for the Brunello is a little bit more informal event, and the other one is the Benvenuto Brunello. If you have customers that want to experience something unique in Tuscany in Italy, and they want to be a little bit far from the main dates of the classic touristic scheduling, that November is absolutely a great month, not only because the climate is still good from that sense. We are not having those bad time and bad weather until December in this area. And the event, the Benvenuto Brunello, is very local. That's where you're going to meet not only the wine producers, but also the local of the area and local passions. So the customers would really leave a unique moment and unique experiences. And of course, the wineries will be open, so there will be the opportunity to mix the experience within the city, the village of Montalcino, the and the wineries. And at the same time, that's also a time of the year in which you're not required to book months in advance, because again, it's not necessarily high season anymore. So um, it's not a matter of saving money, but it's a matter of finding an easier way to make reservations. Very briefly, introducing the world of wine of Brunello di Montalcino, taking notes about what we mentioned in the Chianti Classico. You remember that with Chianti Classico, 80% of the grape had to be from Sangiovese. The most famous Italian red grape that grows everywhere in Italy, but in that specific area finds its perfect representation. And in case of Brunello di Montalcino, it will be mandatory for a producer to create and to realize this wine to have 100% of Sangiovese. So it will be Sangiovese in what we call purity is required. So all the Brunello di Montalcino that you may taste will be 100% Sangiovese, no blend, nothing else apart from Sangiovese. Um, I don't want to talk a little more about the history of Brunello, because today Brunello is again one of the most renowned wine in the world, and it's called Her Majesty, the King of Sangiovese. In this specific hilly region, in which you are a little bit higher than the sea, because of course the town of Montalcino and the vineyards around are just up on the hill, creates the perfect atmosphere, the perfect context for Sangiovese to become and to find its again outstanding production and representation. Um, Clemente Santi was the very first Italian enologist who was the one who put Brunello di Montalcino on the list of the wines that people had to know. And today, of course, again, if you want to give a bottle of wine at Christmas, you will always buy a bottle of Montalcino without no problem, and for the love of your friends. This, as we said for the Chianti Classico, the same style and robust type of wine requires here, in this case of Montalcino, some specific type of food pairings that your customers and you will find in the wineries that you will book through Winedering and that you will see online. Most of the experiences in Montalcino, most of the experiences in Chianti Classico, sorry, included food and wine pairing. In Montalcino, it's quite easy also to find wineries that are only focused on the wine. So you will have beautiful vertical wine tastings of this short amount of very high quality of red Brunello di Montalcino. But there are also wineries that started a few years ago to open their doors also for food pairings. And when it comes to food pairings, as you can see, there are not that much differences with the Chianti Classico, with the peachy, this paume pasta with wild boar ragu, or the peposo for as a tender stew with some peppers. But also, since we are in Valdorcia, we definitely recommend also you to taste the pecorino di Pienza, which is a perfect wine, a perfect cheese that you can taste, and it will always be included in the tastings with food pairing in Montalcino. Uh, by the way, pecorino di Pienza is one of my favorite cheese. So I was just thinking about my last tasting that we had a few months ago in a winery in Brunello that I will share you in a moment. And definitely one of the greatest product that you may want to have. Of course, there are also veggie solutions, and for any kind of allergies or food intolerances or food specifics, wineries in this area are very well organized, so you don't have any problems, and you will just be able to put those specific requests into the notes while making the reservation. Let's go to the core of this presentation. We talked about the wine, we talked about the destination, the distances, the logistics. Now, this is by the way, a picture from that the consortium gave to us, to make sure that we could use that without problems. And our top 5 experiences. Let's go through them. First of all, we'll start from Casa Nuova delle Cerbaie. Reason why I want to start from this winery is because it has been one of the very first wineries that registered on our platform, that opened its doors to us and to customers. And they have two amazing hospitality managers, the ones in the picture, Simone and Cristina. This picture was made by us because Winedering we did a beautiful retreat in December. And by the way, we also had this beautiful bottle of Montalcino. I'm not going to drink it, I promise, but just to give you the uh, the confirmation that this kind of winery is absolutely the perfect cozy solution, a little bit far from the city center of Montalcino, and you want to go there by car because you cannot walk there. But once you arrive there, they overset and all the expectations that you may have. The wine tour is quite not that far. It would take like 30-45 minutes, and the tasting in this beautiful little room, just for you and for your customers, is definitely worth it. You will have a beautiful tasting of the Brunello di Montalcino, with some food pairing. They don't do lunch, unless it's specific request, but most of the time they are doing pairings, with little pairings, um, before and after lunchtime. This is Christina taking a presentation of the wine. Then we move a little bit, I mean, not far from Montalcino either, like a few miles. This is probably one of the best rated wineries that we have on winedering.com. It's a family business, Terzuoli family, Sasso di Sole. This is the style of the tasting room that you can see here. And we chose for you, in this case, a little bit cheaper experience of 3 Brunello wines. But what customers say the most when they book and they make reservation here is the relationship that they build with the Terzuoli family, and at the same time the perfect understanding of the whole destination that Sasso di Sole can give you during the presentation. And then we have some new wineries that entered on our platform a few months ago and that are already booming in terms of reservations. And I want to give you these three, starting from San Lorenzo, which is open usually from Monday to Friday. And the good thing about this kind of experience is that they give you 5 wines for tastings. Of course, there will be like short tastings, but it's perfect to have the overview of the Montalcino destination. And you will have cheese and cold cuts. It's a little bit more expensive from the Sasso di Sole one because we have 2 wines in addition, and it's not a matter of the quality of the wine, but it's a little bit more stylish from that sense. Sasso di Sole is more familiar. San Lorenzo is a little bit more elegant from that sense. Both of them very authentic. So all the wineries that we present you here are definitely as authentic as you can imagine. Then I want to present you something a little bit different that may not many travelers and people know, which is Roberto Cipresso. This is a guy who's not from Tuscany. He's from the north of Italy, but he moved here into uh, Montalcino, and he created this line, this project. This is the one that you're going to taste in this kind of experience, which is related to Cipresso 43. And the Cipresso 43 is a project through which he aims to highlight the unique territory along what's called the 43rd parallel north, which latitude goes and includes wine regions like Georgia or Oregon State or Italy, with Tuscany and Umbria. So this line, this parallel, is famous for producing outstanding wines, and through to this presentation and tasting, you will definitely be able to discover these characteristics and why I loved to present you there in a very vibrant presentation and tasting. Um, last but not least, from that sense, and I definitely wanted to include you a lunch experience, is Villa Le Prata. This is the perfect solution for the wine tasting and food and lunch experience for more than 2 hours and a half experience. Open every day from Monday to Sunday from April till November. A little bit more expensive, of course, but it goes up to groups with a maximum of 6, 8 people. So very, very exclusive experience for you. All of these wineries are just around from 1 to 5 miles from the city of Montalcino. Going to the end of the uh, of this Montalcino presentation. Um, as we did for the Chianti Classico, I also wanted to highlight you a couple of itineraries that for me and for our understanding could be very useful for you to study, to promote them to your customers. Um, the first one is definitely something that we have been required so many times over the last few years, and we have helped so many customers, either B2C but mostly travel professionals, to organize the perfect day tour, either from Siena or from Florence. And a day tour in this area for non-connoisseur, for non-expert, for first-time visitors in Tuscany is definitely a mix of Montepulciano and Montalcino for two main reasons. First of all, in one day you can see both these beautiful destinations, and so why not? Second reason is because if you go on a more vertical Brunello di Montalcino experience, non-connoisseur could be a little bit, I mean, I wouldn't say bored at the end of the day, but they would expect to have different contexts. So the idea is to shape a little bit the day, mixing up a Montepulciano winery and a very important and structured Montalcino location. So that's why on this presentation I wanted to give you a mix of the two solutions. And departing from either Florence or Siena, the first stop would be would necessarily be Montalcino in my recommendation, and I would recommend you either Casanova delle Cerbaie or Sasso di Sole, or the ones that I mentioned you at the beginning. Um, it will last 1 hour and a half, 2 hours. It will give you a perfect introduction to Montalcino, and then from there you will drive through the beautiful Pienza hilly roads, stopping by for taking some pictures. And by 1 p.m. you will be able to arrive at Terra Antica, which is another winery in Montepulciano, for a great lunch, an informal way before going back to Siena or Florence by 5 p.m. This is a wine day tour that perfectly gives you an understanding of the two destinations. You can also mix it up. So you can also do the opposite, starting from, in this case, Tarantica or anything else in Montepulciano, and then go up to Montalcino. But trust me, you need to pay attention. Brunello di Montalcino deserves attention. And if it deserves attention, you want to be as awake as possible. So it's usually suggests you to have this kind of like informative tastings at the first tasting during the day. So that's why I would recommend that kind of tour. And then of course, for wine lovers, for if you have customers or wine clubs, if you have customers that want to leave something more unique, focus on the Brunello di Montalcino. You don't go to Montepulciano, you don't go anywhere else other than Montalcino, different tasting, in this case, three different wineries that produce three different wines in terms of Brunello di Montalcino, three different style, and you will have a complete overview, because at the end of the day, with this tasting, with this experience, you will have them tasting more than 8 glasses of Brunello di Montalcino. So for very connoisseurs, this is the perfect solution. You will arrive at Sasso di Sole in the morning, have lunch at Villa Le Prata, and then end at Casanova delle Cerbaie before going back. Of course, in this case, I put the departure from Siena or from Florence, but as you can imagine, you can decide whether to start from um, any kind of villas or farmhouse within your within that area for your customers. Okay, finishing the presentation, as we did with the Chianti Classico introduction, I remind you that for those who are not affiliate on winedrain.com, all these experiences are bookable on winedrain.com. With your registration, with your affiliate registration, you would get commission. You would be able to find the best wineries according to your preferences, according to different filters, as I will show you here. You can filter wineries for map, destination, for experiences, and you will be able to find the best solutions for your customers. Um, we didn't want to have hundreds of experiences in Montalcino. We wanted to have the best ones for you, so the most authentic ones, and the ones that could perfectly represent what a customer is researching while visiting Montalcino. So my recommendation is to definitely enter into winedrain.com, log in with your access, and find the commission rate system that, adapted to each winery for you. And most important, what we always remind to everybody is the so-called booking confirmation ratio. So our relationship with the wineries, which is definitely important for you to have a guarantee of success. Last but not least, all this information are available on our supporting page. You will have the link also during the presentation and during the email sent. And all the information that I gave you here today are also available on our blog of winedrain.com. So you will be able to click here once you receive the presentation and go to visit our webpage dedicated to Montalcino. If you have any kind of questions, and I think yes, we are on time as we just finished the 35 minutes. If you have any questions, more than happy to reply. And giving you the word for a couple of minutes. Just type in your questions on the chat if you have them, and more than happy to assist you for any kind of information. So let's wait for just a couple of minutes before wrapping up, if there are any questions. Okay, thank you, Alberto, uh, for the note. I hope you appreciated uh, this introduction of the Brunello di Montalcino wine destination. You can also feel free to see our website, to get on our support at winery.com, to write us an email at help@winery.com, to check our blog, and most important, to find out all the information about our destinations. I remind you that you will receive the presentation today, and our next appointment will be Le Langhe. So we are going to Piedmont, and we're going to talk about Le Langhe right now in June, because October and November is the very high season from that destination. So thank you for your time. Have a great Thursday and great weekend. I hope you will enjoy a great glass of wine either today or during the weekend, and if possible, a Brunello di Montalcino. Thank you, and keep in touch, and cheers from all the wine drink team. Have a great day. Bye.